Homelessness is no longer a marginal issue. It is a full-blown crisis, and it is tearing at the fabric of modern society. In cities across the world, from Los Angeles to Lagos, London to Cape Town, the number of people living on the streets is rising dramatically. Tents line sidewalks, subway stations become makeshift shelters, and families sleep in cars while trying to maintain jobs and raise children. This is not just a humanitarian failure. It is a threat to public health, economic stability, and the moral compass of our civilization. The roots of the crisis. Homelessness is not caused by a single factor, but a convergence of systemic failures. Chief among these are housing affordability. In many major cities, housing costs have soared beyond the reach of the working and even middle class. Rent increases far outpace wage growth, and home ownership remains a distant dream for millions. As housing becomes a luxury instead of a necessity, more people are pushed out onto the streets. Mental health and substance abuse. A significant proportion of the homeless population struggles with mental illness and substance abuse. The lack of adequate healthcare systems and accessible treatment facilities means these individuals often fall through the cracks, ending up without the support they desperately need. Economic inequality. The growing wealth gap exacerbates homelessness. As the rich get richer, the poor find it increasingly difficult to survive, much less thrive. Many people are just one paycheck, one medical emergency, or one job loss away from homelessness. Failure of social safety nets. Programs meant to prevent homelessness are often underfunded or inefficient. Shelters are full. Transitional housing is rare. Re-entry programs for those leaving prison or foster care are insufficient. In many places, policies criminalize rather than assist homeless individuals, further perpetuating the cycle. The societal costs. The impacts of homelessness extend far beyond the individual. Public health. Homelessness increases the spread of diseases, both chronic and infectious. Without access to sanitation, clean water, or health care, homeless individuals face higher rates of tuberculosis, hepatitis, COVID-19, and other communicable diseases, threats that do not stay contained among the homeless population alone. Crime and safety. As desperation grows, so does the risk of crime, both by and against homeless people. Petty theft, drug-related offenses, and violent crimes become more common, stressing law enforcement and emergency services. Strain on public resources. Emergency rooms, police departments, and sanitation services are overwhelmed by the consequences of homelessness. It costs cities more to react to the symptoms of homelessness than it would to invest in prevention and long-term solutions. Economic loss. Homelessness reduces productivity. People who could contribute to society are locked out of the economy due to instability, lack of access to jobs, and poor health. Businesses in affected areas suffer from reduced foot traffic and increased security costs. Moral and social decay. A society is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. Tolerating homelessness as an inevitability corrodes compassion, encourages apathy, and weakens social cohesion. When neighbors walk past human suffering without blinking, the soul of a community erodes. Crisis that demands action. The homelessness crisis demands more than charity. It requires structural change. Here are key actions governments and communities must take. Affordable housing initiatives. Governments must invest in affordable housing at scale. This includes rent-controlled units, public housing projects, and incentives for developers to build low-cost units. Housing first models, which provide stable housing before addressing other issues, have shown remarkable success. Mental health and addiction services. Increase funding for mental health care, drug rehabilitation programs, and crisis response teams. These services need to be easily accessible and culturally competent. Universal basic services, implementing policies like universal health care, basic income guarantees, and expanded unemployment insurance can help prevent people from slipping into homelessness. Criminal justice reform. Stop criminalizing homelessness. Instead, create diversion programs that provide help rather than punishment. Reintegration support is essential for individuals exiting prison or foster care. Community engagement and empathy. Combat stigma by promoting empathy through education and awareness. Volunteers, local organizations, and everyday citizens all have roles to play in treating the homeless with dignity and advocating for systemic change. Conclusion: homelessness is not an isolated problem. It is a reflection of societal breakdown. When a significant portion of the population is left without shelter, security, or hope, the entire system begins to collapse. Schools struggle, businesses flee, healthcare costs soar, and crime rises. But perhaps most critically, our shared humanity erodes. If we are to rebuild our communities and ensure a stable, equitable future, we must treat homelessness not as a symptom, but as a central issue to be solved. It is not just the right thing to do, it is essential for the survival and integrity of our society. The time for action is not tomorrow, it is now.